Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I am. I'm dying over here. But I'm a designer, I'm an illustrator, I'm a cartoonist. And today, I have the pleasure of being your instructor. And today, I have the pleasure of being your instructor. So, how are you guys doing today? Well, Puppy Mustache just finished eating, so he's just joining us right now. How you doing, buddy? You all happy now? So, it has been Mermaid for maybe like a couple days already. And we've only drawn a handful of mermaids. So we gotta draw some more mermaids. We gotta draw some more mermaids because it's mermaid. So what do you guys think? Should we tackle the theme of mermaids today? So that you guys can join into the mermaid action? I think so. I think that's a good thing. So let's talk about mermaids. Rodgun, do I ever sleep? I do. And then I go back on. It's my job. So the thing that you guys might not understand is that this is my job. This has become my job, and I get to enjoy my job every day. I get to come on here and I get to come draw with you guys. And this is what I do for work. You guys buy my books, you guys buy my courses, you guys buy my things, and that pays for my bills. And I am incredibly happy and lucky and very, 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 very joyful at the fact that I get to have a life that is a little easier than most. So this is my job. So I come on here as much as I can so that I can not make more money, but to just make a difference. Because, like, who else does that? Right? If not me, who? That's the way that I see it. In my life, it's always been that mentality. Like, if it's not going to be me, then who? So if no one's going to support my art, then it might as well be me, right? If no one's going to cheer for me, it might as well be me. So it's a lot of the mental state in which you end up is very conducive as to how you think about yourself. So if you are a very positive human being, you're going to end up in a situation where positivity reigns over negativity. If you are a very negative person, you're going to think that everything is the end of the world and you're always going to be defeated. So understanding your mental state is very important as well. So that's something that you guys should aim to learn, because that's not given to you. No one's gonna go and think of how you think. No one cares enough about any other individual to do that. Really, unless you pay them for like therapy, and then even then, it's kind of like ugh. So as you guys go about your careers and your lives in general, just realize that you are the most important person to your art career. You are. Not your teachers, not anybody else. Because without you and your thoughts and what you want to create and all that magical world inside of you, without you, there's nothing. Right? There's nothing. So you are the most important piece. Like it or not. So you got to look after yourself. And I got to learn that too. I got to learn that as well, by the way. I'm not very good at that either. So this is kind of like self-advice too. So I'm not an artist. I haven't drawn since I was a kid, but I really, really want to. Well, then you should pick up a sketchbook and come listen to some of my art lessons. I normally give people advice on how to start from scratch I don't ask them to know anything in advance. And we will begin our lesson when we get to 5,000 likes, like always. This is going to be our benchmark for our lessons. Once we get to 5K, we begin our lesson. Until then, I just tease you guys with knowledge. Look at what you could do if you got there. Let me show you what you do today. I can show you how to draw fantastic. All you gotta do is get those likes up to those numbers, can you? I'm an ego-driven artist. You gotta tell me that I'm cool today. I love like listening to Disney songs. Rodgon knows best. Let's see, if this person had boobies, that means they come from there. And if she's tucking her arms back, then that means that the lat muscles go around. This creates the armpit. And then our front of our rib cage is right there. Cool. So now if we're gonna make this a mermaid, we need a bottom part of the body, right? So just drawing the upper part of the body is, it's one thing. And that's just a little egg and a rib cage with a compass, right? That is essentially the upper body. So you have your collarbone, you have your neck, and you have your spine in the back of the rib cage. So that gives you access to drawing this same circle in any direction and giving yourself a little head, pointing in different directions. Okay? So that is how you measure that. Outside, and then you add inside volume. If you overlap lines, you end up with depth. That's kind of cool, huh? So now the bottom part of the body is not really all that hard to find. And it's just normally a circle that's underneath that little egg. Now that circle, it looks easy to just put in there, but understanding the distances and stuff like that comes with one caveat. You need to understand one thing, and that is your spine. You need to understand a little bit about your spine in order to be able to use this system properly. Okay? So your spine just happens to be on the back of your body. And we're drawing mermaids, huh? Hold on. There you go. Mermaids are just people with the legs together. Mermaids are just women that have their legs together. That's all they are. Anyways, so if you find your egg and you draw a circle inside, you're going to draw the front of your rib cage and you're going to have the back of your rib cage. Well, the back of your rib cage happens to be your spine. The back of your rib cage, if you follow it down, you're going to have the midpoint of your body, right? That's your spine. At the bottom of your spine, you can draw two little curvy circles, right? That point out like a little infinity sign. And now you have legs because now you have hip bones. Yeah. That wasn't that hard, was it? Going down a little bit out of your egg, and then drawing two little sideways. From there, you just connect the hip bones to the rib cage, and the top of your rib cage, which is this, to your body to create the holes like this. You find those right there for the arms, and then you do the same thing for the arms. Boom. I have to make the profile version of this click, the one you showed me last night. Yeah, I mean, it's just that, Wes. Like, it's just this. The thing is, you're forgetting that this midline is your profile line. This midline, whenever you're drawing something from a profile, that midline, that is your profile line. So when this line is this line. So the back line is just this. So just go down a little bit and then draw yourself 2 circles connected to that. And you get yourself some curvature if you push those back, and you can draw women a little bit easier. Okay, if you move this up a little bit more, you end up in a situation where you get more straight posture. So understanding that you can just move that little bottom part and get different looks is kind of cool. You're overthinking it. You're making it too complex for yourself. You're thinking that it's a lot more difficult than it is. The mermaids, the thing is you need to understand the hip bone so that you can just draw your mermaid legs. In case I miss it, have you heard of H2O, just add water, the mermaid? Nope. Don't really watch that much TV. So if you have an egg, you follow the back, and then you draw a little infinity sign, you have a whole human body. And you also have all the mermaids. You can draw the fishies if you want. Now, if you want to make a girl that has bigger hips, just make that bigger. And you have yourself more hips and more hips. Okay? So that's the caveat. All right, brother. Have a good one. Hope you kick that interview's ass. So yeah, that's essentially how you work hips. An egg, and then you go down the back, you find your spine, and then you do 1 little circle, 2 little circles. And then that replicates your hip bone. From there, if you go up your spine as well, remember your spine's in the back, you have your spine that takes you up to your head. Take that same circle, replicate it, and you have yourself a head. Ooh, what? What? Draw a pill, like a teardrop coming out of here, into a straight line, into whatever foot you want, and then complete the muscles that connect behind the thigh. Ooh, that's so hard. Oh no, so difficult. Do the same thing with the upper body. Teardrop into a straight line at the edge, even out for volume. Rawr. So, the concept itself is easy, but applying it sometimes isn't as easy, okay? Because seeing things that are simple like this from other points of view isn't normally something that we think about very often. But if you take the time to just learn those basic shapes, first of all, your life drawing is going to go off the fucking roof. Second of all, your posing is going to become insanely easier. And third, your storytelling is going to take a huge level up. Mostly because you'll be able to actually pose your characters the way you want instead of the way that you can, if you know what I mean. you'll be able to actually tell the stories you want because you'll be able to draw the characters doing the things you want them to, as opposed to just the things you're able to right now. And that's a big difference. Now, I wish you could rewind this. You can find all this knowledge in my YouTube. This is all in my YouTube. So going down the back, I find where I want my spine to end. And then from there, I draw 2 hip bones. I want this girl to have big hips. And then I just draw around the hip bones. Drawing mermaids, so. So when you want to find the lower body, you just have to go down the spine. But so many people don't even think about the spine whenever they're drawing. They're all concerned about the things that they see in front of them instead of the things that they don't see in front of them. So if you draw a character, if you already know how to find the front of your body, just draw a circle. And then you find the backside of it. The backside allows you to have your spinal cord coming up from the back of your head and then create the volume in front of your head. You already have the connection with your neck right there. So all you do is taper this and you have yourself a neck. Right? So understanding that and then understanding that that's your spine in the back allows you the ability to bring your hip bones really easy forward. The space in between here becomes your goodies. This circle gets pushed to the back. This circle gets pushed to the front. If you draw through your shapes, you have access to drawing legs. So, you guys can think about this. All this in-between area can be modified to fit whatever shape you're in. You can always taper anything in between, let's say in between the knee and the top. You just have to taper it or balloon it for style purposes if you want bigger thighs, bigger muscles. Same thing for the back. If you want bigger shoulders, just make this bigger. It gives you more space that you need to fill in with more muscle. Okay. The wider you make this, the more space you need to fill in. So the more muscle you're going to need to be able to fill it in. Okay. So the wider you make that, the more muscle you require to be able to fill that in. So it just makes everything bigger. So you don't need to learn to draw differently. You just need to learn to draw with different proportions of the same character. Okay? So that's something cool. So that's how the rib cage and your hip bones work. Congratulations, you have leveled up now. That's a simple, easy lesson that always helps everybody get a little bit better. Because it teaches you the structure. It teaches you essentially the 2 shapes that you need to learn to know the size of the head, because the head is just a cylinder coming out of that circle. Okay, so you don't have to guess what size the head is supposed to be anymore. Just make it the size of that and then taper the connections. Then from there, this is your outside of your arm, so this is not the middle. You don't draw things to the other side, just draw inside. You find this like a stick figure, and then you bring it back into the body. Learning to overlap those shapes gives you depth. Those connecting points give you mapping points for your anatomy. So if you want a man, you can just draw pectorals. If you want a woman, just draw fatty tissue over the pectoral muscle. This gives you the back muscles as well, because you just go around and it gives you that little back muscle. The difference between here and the width of between the egg that you draw, whatever egg shape and whatever hip bones, this area in between is the squish zone. That's where your belly button goes. Okay? So that's the squish zone. This is where you add all your belly fat, fubas, whatever you like have the character, that is where you add it. Are you a god? No, man. Not at all. I'm just a normal person that obsesses a little bit more than other people. So I just take the time to observe things, and I might be a little like, I might have like in the range of autism too. So to a certain extent, because I find myself incredibly happy doing repetitive motions all the time, listening to the same music all the time. And, it's just like, it's peaceful to me. So it's more like, yeah. So that's the reason why I'm able to see things the way that I see things. And luckily for me, and luckily for you guys, I have the ability to explain it in a way that's a little bit better than other people. So I'm able to actually share that knowledge with you, as opposed to maybe making you having to struggle through going through the same thing so that you can find the same thing 10 years down the line. Maybe I can cut that down by 9 years and 11 months. Know what I mean? If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you know, you know. Fucking J-Lo. I'm French and I see you live every time. Yay! How's France? What's France like? I have never been to France. So I've been to Italy, I've been to Greece, I've been to Scotland, and I love Scotland. Scotland's beautiful. Like, I fucking love it. I'm gonna go back soon. Just because I love the place. It's so fucking lovely. But I also want to go to Japan. And what I want to do in Japan, I don't know. Like, I'm like debating. I'm debating if I should make it like a group trip, like open it up to people that want to come join me and be nerds with me, and just experiment that way. Just be like, all right, guys, we all meet at the airport. We all get our own hotels, but we meet up to do things. Cool. We go for a week. We fuck everything up. We go draw everywhere. We learn a lot from everybody, and then we go home all inspired. I thought that would be like an awesome way to do it. But then I have to organize something. and good old Rod does not enjoy doing that shit for people too much. I used to be an organizer for huge events. Huge. I used to be a pretty big name in the skating industry in San Diego. So I used to actually gather entire groups of like 300-400 people and then organize races, sponsors, and all that stuff all the time. So I don't like doing it anymore. But it might be worth it if it involves my Japan trip. So, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. I've always wanted to go to Japan. And I'm tired of waiting for people that say they will go with me, but they can't, and it's been years. So I'm just gonna do my solo trip. I'm 40. I'm just gonna go do it and just enjoy myself. And normally I don't get much enjoyment by myself, but I'll figure it out. It'll be okay. You gonna go with me? That'd be cool, though. That'd be super cool. Yeah, so maybe like when it comes to like later on to when I actually get the flights and stuff like that, I'll like tell people like, hey, whoever wants to go, I'll be here from this time to this time. If anybody wants to join in, you guys can come by, message me so I can see that you guys aren't going to be psychos. And then after that, we can proceed. The cycle part is very, very important. You draw Marvel. I am in the process of working for some stuff for Marvel. Not Marvel stuff, but they asked me to draw some stuff for their Marvel Snap game. So I'm going to be doing some stuff for their Marvel Snap game. And that's, I think I can say that. I think it's just a bunch of little chibi characters they want for their, so I'm drawing little chibis. Okay, kind of like, I'm guessing kind of like akin of what Scotty Young did, like at one point. So yeah, they already accepted my two designs. I just need to do some quick changes for one of them. And then, so I got two designs accepted. I got Dr. Voodoo accepted and Agent Valentina. So those two are the ones that I designed, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's awesome!" And I was like, "Darn right, I'm awesome." Who do you think you talking to? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a chibi monster, dude. He has the eye of Agamotto. And he has a cool staff. And oh, he has like super cool dreads too. That was the coolest part, trying to like figure out a hairstyle that I've never done like commercially before. That was really cool. And then he has magical powers. Yeah, that was a really, really fun project. And if they enjoy what I do, they'll just hire me for more work. So it's gonna just end up being really cool for me. To just have that, like, to be able to say that I have that in my repertoire is gonna be insane. Okay, so that's just the benefit of it for me. It gives me more credibility as your teacher. So as your teacher, I need, like, okay, so there's a certain path that I needed to take in order to get to where I am. Okay, a lot of people don't really ever ask about this, and I don't really talk about it. But there is a certain structure that needs to be done in order to be able to progress in the art field in the way of teaching, right? In the field of like art teaching, you have to have some measure of notoriety. Now, again, a lot of people do this through, like working for Disney or Marvel or something like that. And I never really took that route because I didn't really want to. So when it came down to me getting notoriety, it came down to social media. So social media needed to be on point for me. And over the last 7 years, I've grown my accounts to gigantic numbers just because of how I am, which is kind of cool. I've never paid for advertising once, and I've never paid for any ads ever. So all the stuff that I do is completely organic, and I love it. It's absolutely fantastic that I'm getting this amount of reach. Last month alone, I reached 1.8 million followers. And that is nutty. But that's insanely cool. So all the strategy that I've put together over the last, 6, 7 years, it's finally getting to the point where I can actually move on to the later stages of what I need to do. And now I get to start thinking of ways to be able to make a school for myself. my own actual school, my own courses, my own books, my own curriculum, and making it accessible to everybody. So the cost of it will be very minimal. And also provide you guys access to all the free resources too. So you guys have all the 500 plus videos that I've done on YouTube. So free resources have to be a must. Because you can't just always charge people for things. That's dumb. That doesn't work like that. You can't grow a community and exclude the people that can't afford what you do. You can't grow anything. You can't grow a society. You can't grow a community. You can't do anything if you don't allow people that can't afford things the access to that same knowledge. So I will never, ever, ever gatekeep this knowledge. It's just going to be more, it'll be just more concise and easier to find, right? But all of the videos will just be like more detailed versions of what I normally do. So that's essentially the only difference between the courses and that. I'm just going to spend more time explaining it and give you guys more examples. So that will be what these courses are going to be. It's not going to be exclusivity. I don't like doing exclusive stuff. So that's why subscribers and stuff like that, I don't do that. I don't really do anything special for anybody that subscribes because I just don't feel like making exclusive content for just a certain amount of people. So that's the caveat. That's where it's going to hurt me a little bit. Mostly because I need to learn to make money with what I do at a certain point. And if I don't, I can't sustain this, right? It's beautiful and I love it and I've done it for like a year, but I've been eating into my savings for about a year. So it's getting to the point where I need to actually think about how I can like progress to making it a sustainable thing. But it's never going to come at the cost of like charging for classes or my streams or anything. I just don't think that's going to be a thing. I don't think I'll ever be like, oh, well, now you have to send money. And I don't want that. That goes against everything that I want. So it's something that I have to think about. If I want to take this to the next level and I want to actually progress and become like a business, I have to think about it like that. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go back to it being like part-time and then just, teaching whenever I can instead of teaching whenever I want. And especially with the TikTok ban, that's just terrifying because I'm going to lose a big chunk of my revenue. Even if it is a small amount right now, it's going to be an even bigger chunk that's removed. So it's going to be interesting. And let's just hope that I don't have to go back to the workforce because then I don't want to take anybody's job. I don't want to have you guys compete against me in the workforce. It's never fair. And that sounds cocky as hell, but like I don't think I've ever not landed a job if I got an interview. The charm of a cultist, man. Charm of a cult leader. Mind of a teacher. How to draw a head in 3/4. I'll show you guys in a second. Still waiting for the art cult. I have to come up with a name for it, and then I have to come up with like people that like are gonna be like my admirals and generals and shit like that. It's a lot of work, dude. I'll start the cult whenever I can. Three-quarter view head. So start with the middle line, draw your eyes, draw everything, right? Once you find your eyebrow, that's going to be the side of your face. So that's when you decide How wide do you want your head to be? Do you want it to be a little cartoony head? Draw a little circle that just goes about that big. If you want a more realistic face, you can make it go a little bit further. Okay, I like my drawing my heads around either. From there, split this in half, which is already split right now, but you normally don't have that. Split it in half, you draw your ear to the back. From the ear to your chin, a curvy line. From your cheek over here to your chin, curvy line. 3/4 face. Your neck is going to come from the bottom of your ear down. Find the other side. You got to draw through your shape. That's why it's important to draw through your shape so you can find the other sides of things and not worry about where the neck goes. You silly little gooses. You guys think that you guys can have to think about all these weird things. What all you have to do is think of 2 circles and a stick. The stick is your spine. The first circle is your rib cage. The second circle is your jaw. When you think about it in ways that make sense, it makes it a lot easier to draw these things. Even if they're in this weird positions. Bottom of your head, top of your rib cage. Volume for your neck goes forward. Taper this. You have yourself access to a head. Yeah, you have to add a little bit of volume to the back. Okay? Ooh. That is the only caveat. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of volume to the back. But other than that, it's a really, really easy system to remember. Bottom of your head, top of your rib cage. Connect, neck. If you want your head twisted to one side, let's say you want that little angle, you already have it. Okay? If you want the angle the other way, and changing the width of that circle gives you different angles to the head. So you can turn it this way, so it's twisted like that, or you can have it the other way, which is more normal. So understanding that is, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, the eyes don't get squished. Don't get squished. They don't do that. They don't do that. Don't squish your eye. Jesus Christ. Okay, let me explain what happens here so you guys understand how to draw it better, okay? The first thing I do is I draw the first midline, right? And then I like to draw a little triangle. Why a triangle? Because it gives me easy guidelines to the rest of the facial features. Just continue the straight lines and you end up in Anatomy Town. Do that at this point, draw the side of your circle, but draw it all the way around. Whatever distance you have here, add it to the back. And then this becomes your ear line. Ta-da! So now that you have a basic skull, really, really easy, now let's talk about the eyeballs. The eyeball is going to sit right at the top of that little triangle. And you're going to draw one circle a little closer to the middle than it is to the edge. Another circle, the same size, a little closer to the nose than the edge. You'll see it thinner because the nose bridge right here is going to block a little bit of that eye. Okay? It's not smaller, it's not squished, it's just being blocked by the nose. Okay? It's the same exact size. Nobody's eyes get smaller because they go into 3/4 view. We're not buildings. Okay, we don't do this. Our heads don't do that. Our heads don't taper like this because we're not buildings. We don't have enough depth. There's not enough length to our bodies to do that. So we have to think more of isometric perspective, which is just repeating the same object and connecting the edges. That is more akin of how we normally have to draw our elements in our bodies because we don't have a massive amount of distance between our things. When you follow those sort of things, you end up with one eye smaller than the other, but then you end up with a fucked up chin. Because you can't trace that back to the ears properly with that distinction. That's weird. So you draw them the same size and just block one with the nose bridge that you get from that little triangle. Okay? So that is essentially what happens with your eyeballs. So when you're drawing 3/4 views, draw the midline, draw one eye, you can draw the other eye the same size, and then draw your triangle in between. Okay? Follow this one around, follow this one around, and you have yourself your eye sockets that give you also your cheekbones. Again, use this as your ear line, and whatever distance you have here, match it on the back, and you have yourself your side of your head. The nose comes from that little triangle. Draw a dot, and connect the dots. And now you have yourself the triangle that you need for your nose. Whatever type of nose you need, all you need to do is connect the dots. And you have to learn a little bit about noses too. You have to know how they distinguish each other. If you have a really wide nose, draw a really wide triangle. Draw a dot, connect, and draw your nose. So that's essentially how you draw noses. Boop, boop, boop. The mouth comes from this triangle as well. The triangle comes down, and imagine you have a mustache. I like to call it the mustache line because the mustache line gives you access to your mouth and to the muscles around it. If you want lips, you need to leave the space for the lips. But the mustache line gives you access to that. Draw a mustache. The bottom of the mustache is going to be your mouth. The sides of your mustache are going to be those muscles that go around. It's actually quite simple if you think about it like that. Hey, baby. Hey. What? You just ate. You guys want to see him? Look at him. Look at him, the monster. He's attacking me. Oh, no. He's like Godzilla. No. Kaiju puppy. Kaiju puppy. Ah. Okay, sit down. Sit down. Here, go play with your bunny. Right, there you go. Come. Bring your bunny here and don't give it to me, jerk. Why sometimes can we see two nostrils, sometimes one? Because, well, let's think about it. If you look at from the front, right? If you look from the front and the nose, you're going to end up with one nostril, and the middle of your nose. Okay? So that's how you end up with a nice little nose. From the side, that ball ends up blocking this nostril. You don't see that nostril because it's behind that ball. Okay? So you have one wing. The other wing is behind that circle, so you only see one nostril. So whenever you're drawing 3/4, sometimes you only see a little baby part of the back part, but you see a bunch of this one. If your nose is pointed up, you're going to see more nostrils. If your nose is pointing down, you're going to see less nostrils. Okay, so that's essentially it. There's noses that come in a bunch of different ways. So there's no one way to draw a nose. But having yourself a nice little guideline from a triangle and a dot gives you access to pretty much anything that your brain can imagine with that, which should be a lot. Is your dog a mixed Shih Tzu? No, he's a Schnauzer. He's just a Schnauzer. He was supposed to be a mini Schnauzer, but he wasn't so mini after like a month. And then he was less mini after 2 months. Now my whole my villain era got pushed back because now I don't have my little like animal to pet on my lap and go, yeah, that will be $1 million. So now he's just my fitness buddy. He's gonna go out running with me, and he's gonna essentially be my companion for probably close to the remainder of my life. So yeah, like I'm 40, and they live about 15 years, so I'll be about 55, and then by then I'll be so decrepit and old. Like I'll even be like, I'll join you, buddy. Let's go. Turns in wheel turn, looks at. So yeah, I teach all this stuff all the time. I find it really fun for myself to do this. To me, it's not a chore. To me, it's not a job, really. It's more like me giving back to the community that has given me so much over the years. If it wasn't for my art community, for my peeps, the people that have supported me throughout my whole career, I wouldn't have shit. So, I wouldn't have notoriety. I wouldn't have access to the things that I have done in my life, the conventions that I've been to, been guest speaker in places that I never thought I would. I've been flown out to like different states to be able to go just talk to human beings. That's so cool. And knowing that all that happens because I'm just trying to do my best to give people knowledge is even better. It's like all that positive karma comes back to you like tenfold, and you're like, yay. So if you ever feel like you're in a situation like you got to choose between being a good person or making money, I highly suggest you guys choose right because it might change your life down the line. Being nice to people is something that you will never regret. You'll never look back at it and be like, oh my God, I was so nice to them. I regret it. Even when they're assholes, let's be honest. Like, we still cheer for the people and we still want them to succeed and be happy. Even when they're assholes, we just have to learn to accept that. Things like dresses and stuff like that. Being nice is nice. I mean, no, I don't even see it like that, though. The way that my brain works is if I can make anyone's life easier, I have to. I have to. It's not a maybe I can. No, it's a have to. And that's why I don't go around people much. Because people that have issues in their life end up essentially making me feel so bad because I can't help them that I paralyze myself. So I don't go out around people because I have to protect myself from feeling like that. And I know it sounds really shitty because, you should go out and help as many people as you can, but my brain doesn't work like that. I will literally go bankrupt trying to help everybody, and I'll just starve to death and nobody will give a shit about me. So that's the only caveat. You know that it's never reciprocal. So whenever you're like a person that gives a lot and nobody ever pours into your cup, that ends up in a horrible situation. So at one point, I discovered that about me, and I decided to start taking precautions against it. And that was eliminating pretty much every single person that had any negative crap happening to them. And it's helped my life be incredibly easier and incredibly less stressful. And I'm not really stressed all the time, and I don't feel sad. You feel lonely, once in a while. But I'd rather take loneliness over feeling like shit every single time that I see somebody in pain that I can't help. The distance from here, from the eyebrow to the ear, should be the same distance roughly to the back of the head, and your ear cuts that down, okay? If you guys keep that in mind, you guys are going to be able to get your heads a little bit better. So wherever you draw the side of your head, split it in half at an angle, about like a 15-degree angle, and that's where your ear goes to the back. From there, that's where your eyebrow hits. Wherever that is, the styling is going to come up to you from there. But most of the time, you end up in a situation like this. Okay? Most of this is brain, and then your eyes and stuff like that are a little bit in front of it. But wherever you draw, whatever styling you want, remember that that eyebrow is always going to hit that temple. It's always going to hit the temple. Because that's how your body works. Your eye socket hits that temple. So that's why you can measure that like that. The styling for your eyes and the spacing is going to be up to whatever you feel like drawing. So this spacing right here can be whatever you want, but this area is very easy to draw. It's very easy to draw, as long as you consider the benchmark of the eyebrow. The eyebrow gives you your benchmark for the side of your head. Okay? So that's a very useful one for especially when you're drawing things in different angles that you don't really know what you're doing. So if, let's say that we're drawing a super high peak angle like this, right? And you draw your eye and you're like, oh, okay, I have my eyebrow, I have everything else, but I don't know how to draw the rest of the head. Cool. So once you find your eyebrow, that is the side of your head. The styling that you choose is going to depend on whatever width you choose for this. Again, you split it in half whenever you find that distance, put that ear to the back, and connect it to the chin. So slightly difficult angles become a little bit easier once you actually understand and you have a little knowledge. How do you measure the side of the eyebrows to the ear? Let's see. So we have the eyebrow. I don't measure to the ear. I measure to half the distance of the skull. That gives me the distance that I need. So if your skull is only about this wide, you split it in half and you draw your ear in the back. That gives you that distance. So it's always going to give you that distance because you're telling yourself that between your eyebrow and your ear, there's space. So every time, regardless of whatever shape character you draw, right? You're going to require from the eyebrow to the edge to split that in half. That's going to give you that space. In 3/4, you find your eyebrow, and that gives you the side of the face. This also gives you the side of the face to the actual jaw structure. So in one fell swoop, you have all that knowledge. So immediately, you already have access to the side of the face. Triangle, wherever your eyebrow ends, it's going to be the side of your face. And that becomes the side of your eye. If there's like lighting and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool, huh? Just knowing that you can draw a head shape by just finding an eyebrow. You'll get there. Eventually you'll get there. It's just a matter of practicing it enough. But yeah, even little simple characters like this will be incredibly easy now. Because now you got to draw like a little pill. All you got to do is draw a little pill, draw your midline, and draw all your features. Like draw whatever you want inside. But now you know that wherever that eyebrow ends, that is the side of your face. So you're going to be able to draw your ears easier. You're going to be able to draw rounded, to draw your cheekbones. So even if they're little simple characters, you're going to be more accurate with them. And that accuracy is going to carry on to be able to tell better stories, and you're going to be able to do better things. So with that being said, my good friends of TikTok, I am going to be signing off for now. We have finished our sketchbook page for today. We started with mermaids, trying to talk a little bit about the explanation of the rib cage and the hips, simplifying this to the concept of this was so easy. Literally an egg that you draw through with a circle and then follow that back line and then do this. That gives you access to a whole human body. Okay? Your live caught my attention while doom scrolling this month, and I have reviews for Art Uni. This helps. Woohoo! Have a great Friday. Oh, it is Friday, huh? So I just have to go over to my sister's house today later on. So yeah, I get to upload a bunch of videos today, and then it'll be fun. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are awesome. You guys kick butt. You guys are the dopest. And to the 17.7 thousand people that clicked like without me having to ask once. I didn't ask once, and you guys still did it. You guys are awesome. I love you all. You guys are the best, more supportive crowd that I've ever seen. So yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being my students. And with any luck, I will see you guys again soon. And hopefully I can teach you guys how to do some more awesome things, how to unlock a little bit more of your creativity. And if my puppy allows me to, I will spend more time today with you guys too. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Go to my YouTube. There's videos there. Lots of videos on YouTube. Lots of them. Like 500. Like of this. Same level. Awesome. Teaching material can be found on YouTube. So go check it out. Okay? Later, Gators.